Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again, I'm Doc Rotten, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-hosts Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Dave Dreher, Christopher G. Mohr, and I will take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we're reviewing Chucky, Episode 7, streaming now on USA and SYFY. Let me introduce the crew, starting off with Jeff Mohr. Jeff, sir, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7 on a show that you thought you'd never watch.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Nor like. You were like, oh,
yes.
No, we got to watch Chucky. And now you're like, can't wait to watch Chucky.
Yeah, my wife keeps seeing it on the in the queue, and what is that Chucky thing again? Yeah, she's not like me.
She's not going to watch Chucky. All right. Also joining us is award-winning filmmaker Christopher G. Mohr. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, Tiff?
IDIO.
my best Fiona Dora as Chucky impersonation.
We got some fun time with her this week. All right.
Oh boy.
What we're going to do is dive into this episode. We're going to give our first impression. That will be spoiler free. Then we're going to get into a discussion where we will get into spoilers and talk directly about them. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And then later tonight, we've got a little bit of feedback, one of which I'm going to present to you now because it's actually significant.
Okay.
Casey McNatt wrote us and said, guys, you are still under the impression there are 10 episodes this season. There are actually only 8.
Yep.
So I was continually saying 10, and I stand corrected, and I thank you for bringing that up because I literally thought we had 3 more to go. But now we're watching the penultimate episode with number 7.
Penultimate.
Wow. Maybe you're just counting the flashbacks this episode.
He learned that word yesterday.
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I had to pay $5 for it. All right, hey guys, let's take a look at the card. Chucky. It's not on Netflix. That is an error. It's USA. Episode 7, Twice the Grieving, Double the Loss, airs on SYFY and USA Network on November 23rd, 2021. I'm not remaking this card. I'm not stopping now. It's wrong, and it's my fault. Directed by Samir Ream. Written by Kim Garland. Created by Don Mancini. A large cast. And the synopsis is, as the body count in Hackensack continues to rise, Lexine Jr.'s relationship becomes strained. While Jake and his friends set a risky trap. That is last week. So let me read the right one. As Hackensack reels from Chucky's relentless but a secret reign of terror, the mayor tries to allay fears by cluelessly arresting an innocent suspect. Meanwhile, the kids desperately try to figure out Chucky's mysterious endgame before it's too late. Obviously, I rushed through making this card. Oh, it happens to me a lot. All right, let's dig into this. Christopher G. Mohr, sir, what was your first impression of Chucky, episode 7?
Just blame it on Chucky. He's messing with you.
Yes.
I thought this episode is okay. I don't know. We were getting this sort of weird spot now where, like, a lot of the adults are dying off of this town. A lot of parents are dying off. And then it's ending up to be very, very weird. It's almost like I feel like we're going to end up like flashback with the foster kids, where they're all going to be in foster care together.
They are. Ouch.
But yeah, it's weird because we have like the funeral, post funeral stuff, and it gets a little bit dire. This is definitely probably missing a lot of the humor of some of the previous episodes, I think. But yet it also takes things in a different direction than I wasn't kind of expecting with one character. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I still have problems with the flashback stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just the dubbing is so apparent in scenes.
Oh, it's obvious, right?
Yeah, because you know that Brad Dourif is not there. He's recording in some studio, and it sounds like that. It doesn't sound like they're. And then also, Tilly, she's recording it because it's two different actors. So I don't know. It just takes me out of it every time, and I still, as much as I think Fiona Dourif has given her all, I don't know, just meshing the, voice that's not hers. I kind of wish she was just doing her voice that she does when she switches as her character. But yeah, I think as much as it, it's kind of like this middle episode. I think by the end of it, it gets really interesting.
Yes, definitely.
And I think the ending kind of saves it a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, this episode has its ups and downs. It's definitely not one of my favorites. And I don't know if it's just subject matter. It's we're at this point where it seems like a lot of the characters are just at a loss, and there's a lot of dire stuff going on. So so I don't know if that maybe just the tone of it kind of pulls me out, but still, it's got some good parts in it, and it's got some, like I said, there's a character who kind of goes against what we've seen so far, which is kind of interesting. But overall, it's still a good episode for Chucky. It's just not one of my favorites.
Not one of your favorites. All right, Jeff, sir, what is your first impression of Chucky episode 7?
I guess I'd go with that as far as not one of my favorites, but I think kind of what they're doing is, a lot of it is setting the stage for the last episode.
The finale.
Not with, and without knowing what the last episode is, but there are developments for each one of those characters. And I don't know what else to say other than I enjoyed the occurrences, the events that take place in this episode.
Yes,
and I think it does set the stage. So everybody's in a position, and we've got some of the the characters from previous movies that have showed up and then kind of left, and now they're going to enter back in. So that's all interesting. I enjoyed it. And I still don't have a problem with the 80s Chucky and Tiff. I don't know why. In fact, it's it's just kind of become who they are. I have maybe more problem with the Tiff because she really doesn't look like Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same nose. It's just...
Yeah. You almost said Meg Tilly, didn't you?
Almost said what?
Meg Tilly.
No.
I actually enjoyed this one. I thought it was interesting. I think the biggest thing I didn't like was there's an element of the previous 6 episodes that we grew to like with our characters that is, strained heavily in this episode, and that kind of sucked some of the life out of it in that respect. However, when it concentrated on Chucky and was leading all roads to Chucky, that's when it really worked. And the one scene that Christopher was alluding to it might be my favorite exchange of Chucky and a victim at this point. It was just, it was really on point, and I really liked it. And then we'll get to it. There's an element of that particular kill that was like, well, that hadn't been done yet, so that's cool. So I enjoyed it. Yeah, is it my favorite one? No, but it's not my least favorite one. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It makes me very excited to see where the 8th episode goes, and I like that we're kind of circling back around to full Cult of Chucky plot lines, which is a film that I really liked. So that it's going to deliver on the promises of that end of that movie. Yes,
it is. Yeah.
All right, let's dive into spoilers, shall we? So, Chris, why don't we just go ahead and spoil what you're talking about, the death, and because you seem to enjoy that as much as I did.
Well, the Junior and how he ends up killing his dad. I mean, it's interesting because we have all these characters that we could sort of see as being murderous. We have our main character, Jake, even Lexi, who's a real bitch. I mean, you could see her as being a killer. but none of these kids can really sort of pull the trigger. And it's funny that it's the quiet, almost innocent, almost, I don't want to say gutless, but he doesn't have a lot of impetus about for things. He can't tell his dad how he really feels and blah, blah, blah. That he's sort of like is the one that kind of steps up and does what Jake couldn't do. So I just find that to be very interesting. And also it just made me think, are we saying that he's been talking to Chucky for a while, or was that the first time that he had a conversation with him?
I don't know. I don't know if he's
Because
been talking to Chucky or not. But
because it to me it seemed kind of weird that he would be okay with having a conversation with a talking doll all of a sudden. To me, it's almost like maybe Chucky's been playing the long game this whole time, and he's been talking to him as well. So, but I did find it very intriguing that that he was the way he was using Chucky in the same way that would almost like a ventriloquist doll,
I know, so well done.
Yeah.
Or what is it? What is the name of that? The old
Magic.
well, not magic. It's almost like like the crap. I can't think of it. The guy where he gets the guy to talk for him to win the woman. It feels Serenity de Bergerac or whatever.
That's him. I was going to stumble through
it. Feels like a killer version of that. It feels like a killer version of that where he's using the doll to sort of like start the process and then uses it. And then I was thinking, is that hurting Chucky?
Oh, Chucky's having a good time with it. That was awesome.
I guess, but I don't know. It was a very interesting exchange, and again, that's what I love about this series. It sort of does some really interesting things with kills or manipulation, to where he's literally using him as a weapon, using Chucky as a weapon, as opposed to using a knife or any other implemented death.
Yeah, there were some really good shots in this. Really well directed shots toward the end of this. The scene when Junior comes in the room and we see Chucky foreground and Chucky's face, and the expression that it made was impressive. I really like that. And then when he chases or pushes, I don't know which one it is. Is it Logan or whatever his dad's name is, out the door? It does one of those going through the wall kind of tricks where
there's definitely a lot of use of framing in this episode in particular. There's a lot of movements of the camera where things are certain framed, where camera will move a certain way, and there's like one part where like the wall is between Lexi and her sister. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things where it shows them finally coming, because sometimes they use the framing to sort of either show separation or coming together and certain types of things. So they do that. They even did that like towards the end when Jake is like steals money and goes out and the camera moves and we see Junior's up on the steps. So there's a lot of interesting use of camera work. We also get a nice little Chucky exorcist moment as well.
yes. There's a real good shot with when Junior first hits his dad and he falls against the wall. The camera actually tilts. As react. And that I was really impressed with the director in this episode.
Which is sort of like
really wonderfully directed.
What was it? Upgrade.
Where
they would like the motion of the camera goes along with the movement of the characters, which I kind of like that, because at first you think, did someone knock the camera down? But it was like, oh no, it's intentionally to sort of show the brutality of that specific moment.
Right. Yeah. They did it in Fast and the Furious, and Aquaman did it too. So.
Yeah, but I don't care.
Okay. Okay, so the one part that's kind of gnawing at me in not the right way is with our characters from the previous movies, Alex and what is her name again?
Nika or Kylie.
Kylie, yeah. I'm not really enjoying the slowness of their storyline, and why did he leave her? It just kind of like, well, that kind of sucks. It doesn't work for the story. What do you do? Or at least what I want out of the story.
I won't disagree with you. I was irritated with that. So I'm waiting to see if something happens in connection with that.
Yeah, I guess they're waiting for her to show up and save the day. Maybe, I hope.
I don't know. Maybe it's a way to separate them, without them knowing why they needed to be separated. But I mean, the whole thing, I think it starts off, it's a little bit of a downer because we start off at the funeral, right? You've got Kevin and Junior both lost their moms, and then Junior's dad goes into this sort of an alcoholic funk where he just sits around and drinks, and Junior had that traumatic experience where his mom's face comes through the windshield and drips blood on him, and no one's paying any attention to Junior, and he's already alienated from the other kids, so he's kind of open. He's open for Chucky to
the stage is set, right? Yeah.
And that's a big development of this. The last line, I love close to the last line.
Although I don't know. I kind of wish the kids were a little bit more emotional.
I do too.
Because I think if you have the loss of a parent, I think you're going to be crying your eyes out, or you're going to be a little bit more. I mean, I think that's the only thing I kind of saw missing, because they almost seem kind of cold. I mean, there's that loss, but there seems to be a coldness there that I kind of don't like.
They went straight to anger.
There's been a lot of death and violence going on around them for the last
that's true.
Episodes or something. They might be kind of numb. I don't know.
Well, and Devin is a true crime podcaster, so maybe he's used to it.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of Devin's? Devin at least showed some effects. Although I agree with Christopher, he didn't seem quite as distraught as you would think, but he definitely didn't want anything else to do with Jake and Lexi. Do you think that was a good move for this show?
I mean, it's a bad Scooby-Doo move. Anytime you split up, it's not always a good thing. I don't know. I think that's a kind of, I don't know. I guess that's maybe the thing that kind of irritates me about this episode, because we have this moment where all of them are sort of broken up from their little Scooby-Doo gang of trying to figure out what's happening next with Chucky, and that kind of splitting up kind of takes the air out of the episode for me. Even though I think there's going to be probably, them finally sort of going to save Devin by that final episode. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's the only thing I don't kind of like, because it's almost like.
So when, like Devin, he's like checking out because he's going to leave. He goes back and he's packing his stuff up, and he gets this idea.
He discovers that.
At that point, I don't know. He did not try to contact Jake or Lexi, right?
Nope, he did not. He went on his own. But they did find out that he was there because of the phone.
Right.
I thought that was good use of that.
Yeah, and it was neat how Lexi's looking at her phone, looking at one address map, and he's looking at his phone, looking at another thing, and it's the same place.
The same address, yep.
Yeah.
So I liked how they tied that together, and I loved the shot of the cult of Chuckies in the room, all turning their heads. And of course, they have a Billy Chucky, a Chucky named Billy, that starts to move around as well. So we're going to get a whole sea of Chuckies next week. And
Children of the Chucky.
Children of the Chucky of the Corn.
Oh, God.
Chucky of the Corn.
I do not want to see an army of Chuckies walking out of the cornfield.
No.
Be like Gremlins.
No.
Be like Gremlins, and they're all in like the movie theater together.
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious. One of them's flashing the others.
Well, I don't know. That would be a good moment in the Frankenstein screening.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're gonna have. Oh my God, could they do that? They could do it. They set it up.
Could that's a lot of Chuckies though. If you think about it, a lot of animatronics.
Yeah, but they were CGI. I don't know if we're going to be all animatronics. And plus, one Chucky's is good than the next, right?
Well,
I don't know. I like the idea, because that was my favorite part about the cult of Chucky, the multiple Chuckies at once.
So how did this Billy doll? So Jake grabs this doll from this guy who's going to deliver it.
Right. To
And-
Tiff. Right. To Tiffany.
Yeah. How does he know? How does that doll get possessed?
It seems like it seems to me that when Junior finally succumbs to his influence,
Oh,
that all the dolls
yeah, you're right.
come to
right,
life
right.
because all the other ones inside of the address come to
And
life, too.
Chucky has that line, finally,
Yeah.
one of you
Is that-
guys steps up, and now
Is
we
that-
can have some fun.
Is that part of the ritual, or is that that he has to kill?
It hasn't been yet, but
It's a little fuzzy how we get all the cults of Chucky's, I think. But
Well, that's what I was kind of confused about when they started singing the song or whatever. Which
oh my god, that was hilarious.
yeah,
I never thought that a song about the Go-Go's would be.
Well, so in the earlier movies, it's it seems to be really, really hard for Chucky to possess a human body. It's like this big long chanting thing and a whole lot of going on, but it doesn't seem like there's much needs to happen for them to possess another doll.
Right. And
He
then
just
just
has
gotta-
to say that one series of lines. He just says it.
off it goes.
So
I don't
this
know.
one you have to sing a Go-Go song, and that
Yeah, that was
that
another
was
one.
I love that. But okay, so Chucky's also in Nika as well, and we get to see Nika gets set free and then becomes Chucky right away. And that was great. Her look on her face. Oh my god, she's so good. But how because we know that was by accident, right? That just happened to happen when he at the end of Cult. What I guess I'm leading my question is, which one will the real Chucky please stand up? Let's put it that way. Right? Which one is the real Chucky?
Well, I thought she was the real. I thought the real Chucky was in Nika, and
Okay. I was thinking that too.
but
Is he, or is he in the one that
the one with Junior.
with Junior? Yeah. I don't know. It's just so it's a strange thing, but I kind of dig it. I kind of like the idea that there's fractured Chuckies everywhere.
So is Tiffany just messing with Logan, or are they implying that maybe something?
No, she was
What's
messing with
happening?
him. She was setting it
Okay,
up
just making sure.
so Junior would think that Logan was cheating on his.
So Mason was set up so he would kill his dad.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That was,
Just making sure,
it's all manipulation. Yep.
Because just the way the dad is acting, he's almost like he's playing into it a little too much.
Yeah. He's yeah.
Yeah,
I
he was
agree.
sort of. Yeah, when she walks up to him outside the funeral, that's pretty. I guess he was in shock or something.
Well, okay. So
Just stand there while she kisses him.
yeah.
Although there were distractions.
There were a pair of them at least. They I will say that the mayor, when she's talking about the Frankenstein Theater, mentioned that there's going to be a special guest to introduce it.
I'm
Yes.
assuming it's going
Is
to be
that going to
her.
be Jennifer Tilly, right? Or Tiffany as Jennifer Tilly?
Yeah.
Well, do you
Well-
think we'll see Tiffany the doll come back?
See
I
what
doubt
come
it.
back?
What's that?
See what come back?
The doll
Oh,
version. of
yeah, I
Tiffany.
don't know. What happened to that?
Well, I think now that
I can't remember.
but I think if she's in human form, why would she want to go back to being a doll again?
Well, it wouldn't be on purpose.
I guess it could happen accidentally, but
Or as revenge.
I
for
think
Chucky.
we're at the point where it's supernatural, and whatever the hell he wants to do, they
Yeah, the rules are a little forgiving
Yeah.
at the moment. All right. Well, we've basically touched on all the plot points, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Christopher, sir, you are up first.
yeah, we didn't mention about Andy too. How he sort of went on his
Yeah.
little leaving his little babysitter behind.
Well, we alluded to it, but yeah, we didn't get into it.
But yeah, I think, this is a middle ground episode for me. It has its good points and bad points, and then it kind of ends on a really great, has sort of a really good ending that sort of like also makes you wonder like what the hell is going to happen next. Same Chucky channel. But yeah, I mean it some wonderful moments and some sort of WTF type moments as well involving Junior. So yeah, they're still having Mancini's definitely having a lot of fun with sort of like the creation of the show and keeping us guessing and not pulling any punches a lot of times. Cause there's like so many characters I wouldn't think would be killed off this season to where it's like, we're not going to have many adult characters left by the end of this season.
I think Lexi's parents are the only ones left.
Oh, but something's going to happen to that.
I shouldn't have said that. That was a joke.
We got one more episode left, right?
They're gonna,
2 more targets to go.
Unless and I'm even scared for that little daughter to go after him. But yeah, overall, it's an okay episode. I'll give it a. I'll give it a 3.5. It's not one of my higher episodes. It's not like the worst, but it's not really. It's just sort of like it's almost like it's one of those sort of middle things, sort of building to what's going to happen next, and you're kind of
before the storm.
Yeah, and because it's like it's so dire and dark, and everybody's so sad. It's just like because we've built these relationships over this whole season, and you just keep seeing that. Whether the love relationship between Jake and Devin, or even the friendships that have been sort of created because of this, and now it's like it's all split apart. So, maybe some of that will resolve a little bit by the last episode. So as for favorite scene, I guess I'm gonna steal it, but I'll say the when finally he uses Chucky as sort of like his Serrano de Bergerac kill moment of having Chucky speak for him. I thought that was again one of those things. Just like, okay, I've never seen that kind of done before, to where he can't do it himself. Which also just shows you how manipulative he is. He's been manipulated by his girlfriend all this whole time, and manipulated by his dad. So I guess that's pretty.
That's true. Yeah.
It's obvious at this point. Maybe he was the perfect person that could be manipulated by Chucky, because he can't really speak for himself, and maybe that's the point he's going to get to, where he can finally speak for himself. Or I don't know.
I know, and the dad is so out of it. He's still using reasoning like, "Oh, you don't want to do that because the schools will hear about that. Nobody will recruit you." I'm like, that ship has sailed, buddy.
Dude. Well, he's still again. That just shows how clueless he is.
Absolutely. All right, Jeff, you're up next. Your final thoughts, your score, and favorite scene.
Well, I like this in that it's again, to say it, repeat it, setting the scene. I think. The funerals were tragic, and they kind of split up. We have a kind of a conversation going on between Lexi and Jake, where they're trying to figure out, why is he doing that? Why would Chucky do that? They're trying to figure out his motive, I think, to lead them to where they can find him. In other words, but
they're Scooby-Dooing that crap, right?
Yes, they are. And in the meantime, Devin's going Scooby-Doo solo, and we'll see if that comes together or not. And Andy shows up at the last minute, and the closing scene, I think he's knocking on the door, and Chucky's going, "Now we're going to have some fun," or something like that. Or now I don't remember what he says, but anyway. I'm going to take, for my favorite scene, I'm going to take the conversation. It's more of a monologue, but the way that Chucky psychologically works his way through Junior to get him to the point that he kills his dad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the sort of logic of why would you care about that, and look how, you know, everything that he says, it's kind of genius almost in a way. So I'm taking that because that's because of what happens next and what he says. That's a key turning point, right?
It is. It is. It's pivotal. Yep.
I'm going to go 3.75. I think it's
Okay.
not my favorite, but it's I liked it. There's not the violence. It's odd because the violence is cool because of how he uses Chucky to kill his dad.
Yes,
but yet
yes.
it's not quite as interesting as they set the bar pretty high with the mom going out the fourth floor window or whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
it's fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I really liked the progression of the Chucky storyline. We actually paid attention to that a little bit more this episode. I did dislike the the lack of our three main characters being together. I didn't like them pulling apart, but I guess that's going to make the next episode so much better when they regroup, right? That's usually how scripts go, but I don't know. Chucky likes to throw curveballs, so we'll see. The finale of this thing is really fantastic, and everything that happened in the last 10 minutes just makes me love this episode. So I was going to give it a 4. I really enjoyed it. And my favorite scene is just how they handled the facial expression of Chucky is when Junior walks into the room and Chucky is like directly in the foreground. You see Chucky and you see Junior in the background, and Chucky has that expression that, that he's taking control, right? He's got that, his eyes turn, he gets the little thing and he smiles. It's just really well done. And definitely animatronic, right? So looks so good. I really like that.
They got that stuff down.
Yeah.
I think, you were talking about when Junior's holding him out, taking him forward, the dad's reaction too is great.
He's talking to the doll.
Yeah, at some point he says, "How are you doing that?"
Yeah, because he's talking to the doll like he's talking to Junior. It's good, really interesting, really well done, and Devon Sawa did a great job playing that, playing the dad that scene.
Oh
too.
yeah, I think this is his best episode. I think.
Yep. All right. Well, next week is the finale, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll get the rest of the crew back in. They're out for the holiday season, but we'll get them back post-holiday for the finale. Christopher, Jeff, thank you for joining me. Oh boy.
Thank you for turning me on to the cult of Chucky.
I know. Now you're a Chucky file. That doesn't sound right. Let's say goodnight.
That's okay.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Magazine. All right, surprise everybody. I forgot to do feedback, so we're going to do that real quick. I'm just going to dive into it. We got 3 pieces of feedback, so if you stick around, surprise. Alex Pleasant said, "Is it just me, or does Doc Rotten kind of look like Garrett Graham from Child's Play 2?"
I don't know.
We don't know what to say. Everybody's looking it up now. All right. Jeremiah the Pisces says, "So they got a Child Play show with Brad Dourif playing his iconic role. Damn. Need to binge it. Plus Alex plays an older Andy. Damn. Fanfare times 20. I hope you enjoyed it, Jeremiah.
Derek Graham. Nah.
Don't you say
You don't look like Derek Graham. Okay. Back.
I can't drive it. The car's blue. All right. Christopher knows what I'm talking about. All right. Gregory Paul Smith, GPS, says, "Heidi ho, ha, ha, ha." Good job. All right.
I missed it because I was looking it up. What did Jeremiah the Pisces say? A Chucky, something about a Chucky show.
Yeah, he's like fanfare times 20. He's happy about it. So we'll have to find out what they think of the finale. All right, let's get out of here. I'm just going to wrap it up and say we're out. Bye.